Welcome inside the Patterson Event Center and Happy New Year. Let me be the last to wish you Happy New Year as we're here on the 9th, second Friday of 2026, but it's the first game of the new year for your East Grand Rapids Pioneers as they took their traditional long holiday break under head coach Chris Newton, and now with a record of 6-6, well, in a couple of ways they start fresh as they're still right at 500 where they started the season nearly 2 months ago. My name is Matt Gajtka. This is the East Hockey live stream. It's outstanding to have you along with us for this Friday night hockey night in West Michigan. The Pioneers take on a fellow school with a big passionate fan base and the Rockford Rams. The Rams come in with a record of 9-7. They're 2-2 in the OK Rue division. The Pioneers, meanwhile, are 1-1 in league games, and that's important because you've got to finish in the top 4 of your division in order to make the championship flight of the upcoming OK Conference tournament in less than 1 month's time. So the pressure does ratchet up in the new year, and the Pioneers, fortunately for them, they still have plenty of conference games ahead. In fact, they play 4 consecutive games in their division here in the OK Rue, as they've got Rockford tonight, Forest Hills Northern and Eastern tomorrow night. I'll also have that broadcast for you here on the stream. And then next week, Wednesday against Grand Rapids Christian, and I believe it's Friday against Caledonia. So much of their championship fate as they try to repeat as OK Conference champions in the postseason will lie upon the results of the next 4 games. So that's what's facing Coach Newton's team as the Pioneers starting lineup is announced. And by the way, the starting goalie this evening will be the junior Ryder Owen, making his 8th start of his varsity career. Or pardon, no, the freshman Ryder Owen. And on the other side of the ice, we'll be looking at Nolan Williams, the 4th-year starter for Rockford. It's time for the national anthem here at Patterson's. We'll take a short break and bring it on back for the drop of the puck between East Grand Rapids and Rockford. Just about set for the drop of the puck. Sorry for the technical issues at the moment as we're trying to get the broadcast back up here as far as the video is concerned. I'm not sure what's going on with this at the moment. But anyway, ready to start, as I'll just give you the radio call for now, as we've got Alex Barnes facing off against Rockford's Jackson Vollmer. And Barnes wins the faceoff for East Grand Rapids. We're underway for 2026. This is the East Hockey live stream, live on YouTube. Back down into the neutral ice area and scooped up by Brody Raguckas of Rockford. Tapped ahead by Trevor Bird, but it deflects into the Rockford bench. So a change in lines for the Pioneers. Previously, Owen Runyon had centered this grouping of Trevor Bird and Bryce Bjornsson. But for right now, it's Alex Barnes in between those two. as we are back to game action, thrown right to the front of the net, and Williams makes the save. There we go. We got it rolling now. Williams makes the stop on the point shot from Brooks. Porter Brooks, the sophomore D, fired it toward target, and Nolan Williams scooped it up. He's been solid for now 4 years at Rockford, and he's going to be a tough opponent between the pipes for East Grand Rapids tonight. As Williams on the year with a record of 8-7, an .892 save percentage, and a 3.20 goals against. Ryder Owen in the other net, 3-4 with a .934 save percentage and a 1.29 goals against for the varsity newcomer. The younger brother of Oliver Owen, the former Pioneers sharpshooter. As Owen Runyon tries to glove down a deflected puck, it comes to Jonah Packard. He lugs it through to center, hands it off to Chase Laverell for the dump in. Owen snaps it around from the side of his goal. Packard backhands it in deep. 20 days since the Pioneers played a hockey game. Turning shot from Korokowski was blocked out high by the Pioneers. On the near wing side, and chopping at it, Korokowski. Couldn't get it out, now he does, but here comes Gosens back for East Grand Rapids. Gosens lost control of the puck to Portko, who wins it in the near side corner. Looks up ice, does Portko, fires it ahead. It's deflected into the attacking zone by Chase Laverell. Down and around it goes. Hoekstra taking a look, spinning it across. Brooks knocking it ahead. It's through the legs of J.P. Levan. And Levan looks on as the Pioneers have to regroup. It'll be Brinker bouncing it out to center ice. Deflected away and comes for the take by J.D. Meny. And that's an offside against the Rockford Rams. Still working on the video feed for you. Apologize for that. This hasn't given us any issues in the past, so not really sure what's going on with it. At any rate, stick with the radio call for now. Over to the far wing, and Kuhn dumps in for Rockford. Back into East Real Estate. Porter Brooks flips it up, and it does come out to center. Bird knocks it right back into the zone for Brooks. Up the far wing for Bird. Redirects it ahead, but right into the path of the smooth skating Flaherty, who shoots in for the Rams. On the near wing with 14:57 to go in the first period. Bjornsson backhands it to center for East Grand Rapids. He's run off the puck by Hudson Shore, though, for Rockford. Michael Mead comes right back in. Mead dumps it around the wood. On the near side, it'll be Leiter for Rockford, trying to start the forecheck, but he overskated the puck, and it's picked up by Brinker, who skips it across. Bird tied up a stick. Barnes backhands it in deep. Hayden McCrell on the puck for the Rams, up the near side boards, and out it goes, backhanded cleanly by Schwant to center ice, but dumped right back in by East Grand Rapids. Good pace to start this game. Friday games sometimes can be a little herky-jerky at the beginning, but not so today. Both teams ready to go despite the relatively early start time. We got going around 5:45 p.m., so not too long after they stepped out of the classroom. Flaherty, the backhand feed for Rockford in their own end, and it scoots out to center ice. Up for grabs there at center circle. Kicked at by Caden Gosens, and it comes back for his defense partner, Whit Hill, the sophomore. Hill, the second-year varsity man. Up the far side for the curling Runyon. He connects on to Jake Gosens at center ice. Gosens downshifts, looks across with the pass. That's picked off by Ragukas, and he clears the center. Porter Brooks back with a hop in his step. Trying to go right between the circles. He does! And he got the shot off. It was deflected. A lunging shot by Porter Brooks, and it was tipped by Williams up over the high glass and out of play with 13:34 to go in the first. Rockford had a scheduling snafu last week as the Rams had too many games set for one 7-day period. That was against MHSAA regulations, so they had to forfeit the 3-3 tie against Catholic Central last Friday at Griff's Ice House. I had the call for that one, and it was a great game between two teams aspiring to be in the top half of the OK Rue, and it should be the same case tonight. But Rockford did not get credit for that tie. Instead, it's a loss for them, 1-0 technically, with those stats from that game wiped out. Here's Brooks trying to knock it along in his own end. Hoekstra whacking at it, comes back through to Brooks, goes across to Brinker. Brinker looks up ice, and he guided it into the path of Levan, who deflected it forward. Back to the Rockford line and dumped off the boards in front of the Rockford bench. Volmer clears it near wing. Brinker takes over for East Grand Rapids. Up to the red line, and Levan further for Barnes, who dumps in, and it eludes Williams behind the Rockford goal. Backhanded high into the air by Trevor Bird, but knocked down by Rockford's Nolan Portco. The defenseman escapes to center, hands off Laverell. Here he comes again. Laverell down the left wing to the bottom of the circle. Backhand save made by Owen, and the rebound scooted away to the near boards. Picked up in flight by Bjornsson. No, he was stripped of it by Laverell. Dumped to the far corner. Whit Hill takes a look. Lifted it off the window, but gloved down there by Hayden McCrell. And he sends it right back into the mix behind the East Grand Rapids net. Caden Gosens lost control of it. Barnes scoops it, fed it to Whit Hill. Soft play up the far side, and had enough air under it to get it out through to center. And Bjornsson apparently took down his man McCrell on the forecheck. That's a penalty against East Grand Rapids as play comes to a halt with 12:05 left in the first period. And EGR is going to go short by a man for the first time tonight. Then the referee's call is hooking against Bryce Bjornsson, the Pioneers' leading scorer with 12 points on the year. Rockford's power play on the season, 17% successful. East Grand Rapids has given up just a couple of power play goals this season, as it's dumped ahead by the Pioneers after the face-off win. Ask for your patience on the video feed. I'll continue to call it this way. I'll see if I can get it figured out at the intermission. Not sure what's going on. But anyway, the puck at center ice with 11:39 to go in the first period. Far side, carried in by Jonah Packard. His shot off the arm of Owen, hops free to the near circle. Volmer taps it over near side. There's Jonah Packard, 20 goals on the season for Rockford. That's 2-0-20 in Rockford's first 18 games. Cross ring pass from the point by Flaherty. That was deflected. Volmer retrieves it out of the corner. Gave it back to the point for Portco. Wrist shot saved by Owen. Rebound backhanded out. And another penalty against East Grand Rapids for interference. Backhanded clear by Cooper Rowan. And well, we'll see who goes to the box. It'll be Jake Gosens, one of the senior Gosens twins. It's going to be a two-man advantage for Rockford for 1 minute and 7 seconds. The penalty call with 11:12 remaining in the first period. So a couple of penalties stack for East. And Rockford wins the draw from the far circle for a shot by McCrell. That was blocked. Near side pass, score. Rockford's got the lead. Brody Ragukis fires it into the open side of the net. And on the two-man advantage, the Rams have a 1-0 lead, and they'll still have 1 minute and 52 seconds of power play time to work with. And the Rams skated all the way down to the far end of the ice to celebrate with their student section, who's stationed behind Nolan Williams right now. That was a long skate for them to get all the way down there. Ragukis scores his 8th of the season to give him 14 points for the year as the Rams snapped it around to start that 5-on-3, and it didn't take them long to convert on it. So Rams 1, East Grand Rapids nothing. 11:04 left in the first period. And EGR's got to skate uphill. Flaherty, like I said, still a long power play yet for Rockford, almost a full 2 minutes, as they scored just 7 seconds into the two-man advantage. Volmer turns the corner, snaps it down in deep. Ryder Owen stopped it. Number 1 in white guides it around to the far side, not out. Portco goes cross rink, near side, top of the circle, Meade. Right back to center point, Portco has a look, clears it across, far circle, Volmer. Down deep, here's a shot by Packard, saved by Owen. And he covers the rebound. Volmer turned it right, or pardon me, Packard, I should say, turned it right out in front after Volmer gave it to him along the goal line. Jonah Packard, 20 goals, 32 total points. He also leads the team in assists with 12. And the faceoff controlled by the Rams again. Out by the blue line. Oh, just barely in. No, it was not in. It was pulled out of the zone by Portco, and it's whistled on the offside. I feel like they Should have just let that play continue on, the officials I'm talking about, but the referee actually blew the play dead. Don't really understand that one. But, oh, look, we might have video back. Yeah, I think we do, at least for now. I'm not going to count on it, though, just depending on the irregularities of technology, I suppose. And there it goes again. So I don't know what's going on. Packard controls the puck back to the point. Spins it across, far side Portco. Exchanges positions with Vollmer. Near side, it is Vollmer passing in deep to Michael Mead. Wedged off the puck, comes loose to Vollmer, passed it behind the goal to Flaherty. One of the co-captains. Back out to another one of those co-captains. Packard shot it wide of the goal. Deflected by Owen. Came free to the side corner, or near corner. Mead dished it back to the blue line. Portco fires it across. 30 seconds to go on the power play. Packard, the pass to the far circle. Vollmer stick handles and feeds it out high for Portco. A shot that's blocked down in front of the net. Back out to Portco. Cleared it down to the circle. A shot there by Packard. That goes careening wide. Behind the goal, Flaherty tried to center it out in front. Loose puck and scooped up by Vollmer. 9:20 left in the period. 6 seconds to go on the power play. Packard lost control of the puck. Pioneers have it and they clear. That'll be icing, but they don't care about that as on down it goes with 9:08 left in the first period. We've got the picture again, but it's only stayed for a few seconds at a time. Rockford leads at 1-0 on a goal by Brody Rugakis. That was a 5-on-3 goal. We'll see if they awarded any assists on that yet. Anyway, Tracy battered it back to the point and picked up in motion by Runyon. He hits Bjornsson coming down the right wing. Down near the corner in the Rockford end, turned over. Scooped by Tracy. Drives it on ahead for Grayson Leiter to carry in after it. Leiter exchanges with Schwant in the corner, and he's dispossessed by Caden Gosens. He fires a pass up ahead for Whit Hill. Hill went over the blue line, snaps a long shot, in on goal from 65 feet, and Williams gloves and keeps almost exactly halfway through the first period. 8:36 to go in it. And the goal does read Rugakis from Laverell and McCrell. 5-on-3 power play goal as both Bjornsson and Gosens were in the penalty box at the time. The face-off in Rockford territory. The Pioneers hoping to get on the comeback trail. Levan banks it back to the point. Brooks right back to Levan, right through his possession and out to center ice. Many could not get by Brody Savaggio at center ice. Or excuse me, Brady Savaggio. And that is a penalty against Rockford. Penalty called against the Rams, I believe. Or no, it is not a penalty. It is just a stoppage because one of the Rams' helmets was not securely fastened. That was Savaggio. So the referee pointed to his head. He reached up. That's what I thought was a high sticking signal and said it was just for player safety. And so the Pioneers do not get an early power play to try to counter the first two from Rockford. Laverell shoots in. Back down to the far side. Picked up by Packard. Tried to throw it toward the front. And it was knocked off his stick. Into Rockford real estate. Kuhn up the far boards. There's Brooks. Knocking it along. Picked off by Korakowski. Good move, Korakowski to the slot. A shot deflected over the glass by Ethan Brinker, who got his stick in the way with that long reach. I have to just go audio only for the first period. It is 1-0. We'll try to work on the video in the second period. Lifted ahead, Rowan. Here he comes, getting his feet moving. Rowan's pass, left side. That was errant. And he delivered the check against McCrell, but Hayden McCrell for Rockford takes possession of the puck. He clears to center, where it's latched onto by Whit Hill. He sends it up ahead. Gosens back to the blue line, just barely kept in by Whitaker Hill, who dumped it behind the goal. 7.5 to go in the first period. Rams swat it to center. Caden Gosens knocked it right back into the zone. The Pioneers have to tag up to wipe out the offside. Portco had his pocket picked by Jake Gosens at center. The Pioneers fans trying to get their team into it. But the Rams have a breakout going from their own end. McCrell, pass near side, Mead, mishandled. Here's Brinker down the board, centering it out in front, and he was looking for J.D. Menny in the slot, but it just avoided his reach. Down the other way, Mead, the pull-up move, the shot. Great save by Owen to kick it away to the near side boards. Rams on the rebound, though. Wrister by Mark, and that was blocked. And the rebound from the corner, Hudson Shore put it right through the crease and wide. The Rams buzzing, looking for a second goal. Trip Hoekstra on the move for East. Couldn't get to the puck in the near corner. Spun around the far side kick plate by the Rams. Brinker reaches up as he pinched in, but he couldn't deflect the puck forward. And it's juggled through center skillfully by Markin. A backhand toward the front, glove down by Porter Brooks. He's got some space to make a play across. He hooks up with Trip Hoekstra, and Hoekstra sends behind the Rockford cage again. 6:15 to go in the first. Still a 1-0 Rockford lead. As you see there on your screen, Ben Tracy. Angle pass ahead. Pioneers wanted a penalty at center. They're not going to get it, but it will be icing against the Rams. That goal for Ragukis, his third power play goal of the season. That ties him with Jackson Vollmer for the team lead. It's just the third power play goal the Pioneers have given up all year. So I'll work on the video at the intermission. I don't have an engineer. I engineer these myself, so not much I can do while the game is going on, so I'd rather just bring you the play-by-play instead of fiddling with video that may never come back, honestly. So we'll look at that later. The clear around hit the linesman, who was trying to get out of the way in front of the Rockford bench. That benefited the Pioneers, but they give it away at center, and it's flipped in deep by Tracy. Handled there by Ryder Owen to the near wing and Gosens. Bjornsson lifts it up ahead. Bird goes back to Bjornsson down the right wing, but the puck drifted away from him. Flaherty stops on the dime. The Rockford fan section loves it behind the goal, but he coughed it up at center ice to Hill of East Grand Rapids. His attempted dump in hit a body. Then the Rams tried to shoot it ahead, and that bounced off a Pioneer back in front of the Rockford goal for Flaherty. He's got plenty of room there to loft a pass to Ragukis, who gloved it down, but he couldn't get it over the line with possession. Rowan banks it ahead for Bjornsson. Couldn't scoot past a couple of Rockford defenders, and so here's Flaherty. He dumps it around. Owen couldn't take it there. On the far side boards, Ragukis. More complaints from East Grand Rapids, and I'm following the puck, so I can't really see what they're upset about on the East bench. Meanwhile, a pass across is picked off. Here's Savaggio trying to run the gauntlet, come all the way through, and he was fouled on the way to the net. That's a slashing penalty against East. With 4:48 left in the first, a third power play of the opening period for the Rams. And Bjornsson to the box for the second time. As Bjornsson was nabbed for the stick work on Brady Savaggio, who tried to make his way right between the circles. The faceoff won by Rockford. And here's Portco sending it to the left point for Vollmer. Scans the scene. Brinker faces him up. Now Mead back to the point and Portco. Over to Mead. Guides it all the way rink wide for Packard. Sending it right to the goal line. And a deflection by Vollmer, stopped by Owen. That's the same type of play Rockford scored on during the 5-on-3. Packard holding, shooting, caught by Owen through traffic, and he hangs on with 4:19 to go in the first, 1:32 left on the power play. Getting heated in here, too. We've got a great turnout for both East Grand Rapids and Rockford, but especially East. Folks eager to see the Pioneers back on the ice for the first time in nearly 3 weeks exactly. They suffered a 7-2 loss to Powers Catholic out of Flint here at home, and Coach Newton said his team was motivated to redeem themselves for that. Back to center point. A shot by Laverell was blocked in front. Laverell, after the face-off win by Rockford, to the goal line, pass out in front, and Korokowski couldn't get a stick on that play from Rugakis, the only goal scorer so far. Korokowski to Rugakis. He twisted back on the backhand to Laverell at the right point. His pass to McCrell, near side feed. Savaggio overskated. 1 minute to go on the power play. Out by the point, McCrell just barely held it in, but he handed it over to Cooper Rowan, who clears all 200 feet down to our right. 3:44 to go in the period. 54 seconds to go on the power play. This is the East Hockey live stream. Audio only right now, but we're working on fixing that for the second period. We ask that you bear with us through the technical difficulties. Laverell, cross rink pass. Rugakis took it in flight, trying to get around Brooks. Owen poke checked it, but to it there behind the net. Rugakis threw it out in front. Eventually handled by Volmer at center point. Pass left side, Porco, a shot. Handled by Owen right off his chest. Porter Brooks has the puck, couldn't clear. Laverell knocked it right out of the air, and it's to Packard. His backhand blocked. Brooks gets a second chance, and this time he sends it all the way down the river with 13 seconds left on the third power play for Rockford. They're about to be 1 for 3 as they're deep in their own territory. Volmer couldn't take the lead pass. One more clear for Porter Brooks, and it deflects right in on Nolan Williams, the Rockford netminder. Under 3 to go in the first period. Portgo sends it to his own line for Packard on the breakout. Back to 5-on-5. Meade got turned around by Alex Barnes at the east blue line. Lead pass, too far for Bjornsson. Long shift for Brooks, still out there after killing off the penalty. But here's a good feed for Bjornsson right up the middle of the ice. Brooks goes off, Bjornsson driving in. Great move, a shot, and he missed the goal. Trying to go top right corner. Bryce Bjornsson nearly going from out of the box and onto the board. But he missed it by a few inches. Charlie Schwant whacks it to center for Rockford. 2:04 left in the period. A turnover by East, and Whithill, it's jammed deep by Schwant, who goes to the goal, doesn't get the return pass, and flipped out of play over the far glass by the Pioneers. Catch your breath with 1:56 to go in the first period. The Rams, coached by Carl Mokosak. The Rams are averaging nearly 4 goals per game this season. They're giving up 3.3. East, meanwhile, has played a lot of low-scoring games. They're scoring 2.3 per, and they're allowing under 2 per game. That's one of the best defensive marks in all of Michigan high school hockey. But they'd love to get a little more offense. There's a shot from a sharp angle by Schwant after the faceoff win by the Rams, and Owen makes the save. Owen pins the rebound. The Rams are cleaning up in the faceoff circle so far, especially in the offensive zone. They won almost all of those faceoffs during those power plays, too, which really put the pressure on East. Brinker trying to put the pressure on in the corner now, but it's another faceoff win by Rockford. Fed right through the crease from behind the net by Tracy. That was broken up and came back to the point. An attempted shot by Flaherty was blocked by Rowan. Trevor Bird soaring down ice for East, trying to get in after it on the forecheck. Flaherty backhanded it right by Rowan on the far side wall. Leiter back in the Rams' end. Flaherty slows the pace down and clears high off the glass. Strange bounce right up the middle of the ice. Here's Rowan on the backhand. Oh, the puck was bouncing and Flaherty got in the way. Rowan to his own rebound behind the goal. Hands it off to Hill. Dubs a shot toward the net. Bird took a swing at it, but he couldn't connect baseball style as it was deflected up off the ice surface and cleared into the Rockford bench by Flaherty, who slams his stick off the boards. Upset at something. Probably the fact that couldn't get the puck out. Did the right thing. He went high off the glass, but it struck one of those metal partitions that separate the glass panes, and you can't do anything about that. 1:05 to go in the first. Pioneers with an offensive zone draw. Barnes versus Volmer at the dot. As the linesman gets everyone situated, Barnes on his forehand, twisted toward the slot, came free for Gosens. His shot was blocked, though, by Portgo. Gosens again from the right circle. That missed everything, too, but Jake Gosens staying tenacious, looking for his third goal of the season. Banged out of the zone by the Rams' Savaggio, right in on Owen, who dangerously stick handles in front of his own end, and in front of his own net, and cleared it right by the reach of the forward-checking Rugakis. That was close. Runyon rifles it up ahead under the stick of Jake Gosens. Flipped into the zone by Portco, just barely stays in play, high off the glass. 30 seconds to go in the first period. Runyon deflected it on the breakout. Second attempt got to Barnes. Here's Jake Gosens taking the lead feed. Gosens' a wrister, blocked in the slot by Portco. 18 seconds to go in the period. Out to the blue line, Porter Brooks kicks it to his stick. He shoots, saved Williams, rebound, Barnes! Handled by Williams on the fluttering backhand shot from 15 feet away. 10 seconds to go in the period. Both teams get full changes. 10 fresh skaters out there on the ice for the final 10 seconds, appropriately enough. Where it's Rowan versus Kortkowski. They tie up. Bird swoops into the corner. Bird driving the goal. Couldn't jam it by Williams. He got a forehand away. 3 seconds to go. Centering was Bjornsson, or trying to get it to Cooper Rowan, but that was blocked down, and the buzzer sounds, ending period number 1. So Ragukis gets the only goal of the period for Rockford. It was on a 5-on-3 power play. East kills off 2 of 3 power plays against in that period. And Rockford committed no penalties, so the Rams, you have to say, they're feeling like mission accomplished through 17 minutes of this one. OK Rue Division Showdown. Rams versus Pioneers. Back in about 10 minutes' time for the middle stanza on the East Hockey live stream. Second period coming up. It's on tap here at Patterson. I'm Matt Gajtka, and we are hopeful that the video stays with us this time. Sorry about that in the first period. All you missed was a Rams goal anyway, so unless you're a Rockford fan, you might be a little upset about that. But I do see they have a live streamer themselves, just to my right. Great to see, fellow broadcasters. Picking up the mantle. The Pioneers down just the one goal. What else is new? They played a lot of low-scoring games this year, have the Pioneers. Brinker dumps it down the wood. They lost 7-2 to Flint Powers Catholic before the break. I mentioned that during the first period. We'll hold on that for a moment as Bjornsson has the turnover. Center for Bird. Great save by Williams, his best of the night. Side of the goal. The Pioneers root for the puck, but they couldn't get it back toward the net. To the point, Brooks, a shot. Glove down by Williams, head high, and he hangs on his knees. Nolan Williams. Take a bow after that save on Bird from right in front of the net, maybe 8 feet out, right at the top of the crease. The crease extends 6 feet beyond the goal line. And that wasn't far out of the blue paint. Anyway, in that loss to Flint Powers Catholic, it wasn't all bad for East Grand Rapids, as we saw 2 players get their first career goals. Sorry I missed those. Trip Hoekstra, the junior forward, and also Easton Morse, the freshman. Both finding a way to score against, honestly, one of the top foes, top opponents in all of Michigan high school hockey, the defending Division II state champs, the Flint Powers Catholic Chargers. Dumped in by the Pioneers, and they go to work here. Around the horn it goes, and whacked out of the zone by Jonah Packard. Packard 20 goals on the season. It's given over to Korikowski by Hill. Korikowski centered, and there was Gosens to bail out his partner. One-time shot from the bottom of the right circle by Chase Lavarelle. That goes high and wide. Pass to the near side. Packard takes it and feeds it out to the point, but it split the difference between McCrell and Nolan Portko, and it zips out of the zone. And the Nears will gladly take that self-inflicted clear by the Rams as they get a line change. Tough to get a line change in the second period. Turned over by Gosens, right to the doorstep, and Packard is robbed by Owen. That's Owen's best stop. And Hill gives Packard a shove as Packard was looming over the first-year Pioneers goalie, looking for a rebound. There was none to be found. The Rams are whipping the puck around the offensive zone. I just saw them last Friday, and they didn't appear this dangerous. But that could have been the case of just being worn down. At that point, they had played 3 games that week. And the reason they had to forfeit that game against Catholic Central last Friday was because you can't play more than 3 games in a 7-day span. So the Rams sit technically at 9-7. Picked off at center by Brooks. A shot, glove save by Williams, and no rebound. Well, one of no consequence. It just dropped right at his feet, and he managed to cover it up. So East Grand Rapids at 6-6. Like I said, 1-1 though in the OK Rue division. Brinker makes a man miss, rifles the shot, and the man who scored a hat trick earlier this season couldn't get that one on frame. That play was offside, just barely at the blue line. I don't think Barnes knew it as he was in on the forward check against Rockford's Max Flaherty. And at least I think the refs are going to give Barnes the benefit of the doubt and not make it an intentional offside. I know the Rams want it to be the call. If it's ruled to be intentional, then the faceoff will be back in your own territory, but no, it'll be just outside the Rams' blue line. So not ruled to be intentional. And I think that's the proper call, if I do say so myself. Brooks on the retrieval for East Grand Rapids. My name is Matt Gajtka. This is the East Hockey live stream. Cleared ahead by Trevor Bird. All the way down it goes into Rockford territory. Ruled no icing as it was deflected. Portko spins off the body contact from Bjornsson. Bjornsson's hunting one tonight. He's got 7 goals, 12 points on the year. Bjornsson finds the puck at center. And the forward using his long reach to his advantage. A couple of dekes to his forehand side. Twisting a shot that was deflected, I think, by Schwant and up into the screen. So Ryder Owen versus Nolan Williams. It's been a pretty good goaltending battle so far, as the game's opened up slightly in this second period. 14:02 to go in the second. No goals, no penalties yet in this period. Hill hightails it back for it, and the multi-sport athlete who also plays water polo gets the forehand pass off to Gosens. Gosens sends to Rowan. Caden Gosens also plays at least 2 varsity sports at East. Actually, it's 3. He plays football and he plays lacrosse. Ragukis trying to turn the corner against Caden Gosens. Ragukis near side, up to the point, and unable to be held in by Hayden McCrell. All the way back to the goalie Williams. The short handoff to Portko, under duress by Runyon. Hill bangs it wide of the net. Williams just lets it go, allowing Michael Mead, the 5-goal man, to take possession. And we have a penalty against Rockford. First time tonight, the Rams are going to the box. And that is the senior, Jackson Vollmer. Off with 13:19 to go in the second. And East, which is clicking over 30% on the power play this year. In case you're wondering, that's good. They get a chance to tie the score with Vollmer off. The face-off down to our left. Barnes versus Tracy, right to the side of the goal, and snapped around and out by Max Flaherty of the Rams. Ryder Owen handles it back there. Owen in his 8th varsity start. He and Charlie Finch are going to split the duties this weekend, it appears. Finch will get the call tomorrow. Pushed back to the point, errant pass by Barnes, intercepted by Tracy and hammered the length of the rink. Brinker rounds his goal. Bjornsson, headman delivery under the stick of Barnes. No icing, ruled to have been touched just ahead of the center red line. So the Pioneers take advantage of that. Bird looking out to the point, but instead he filters it back behind. It scoots around the boards to the near half wall. Flaherty takes over. Flaherty passing for Braden Kuhn. The freshman defenseman can't get it out. Packard couldn't either for Rockford. Kept in by Brinker. He closes. He shoots. Gloved again by Williams. That left-handed trapper has been effective so far with 1:05 to go in the power play. East will stay in the offensive zone, but they're going to get some fresh bodies out on the ice for the second half of this power play. Critical one for them. They try to tie the score, and from the looks of it, Rockford may not be in a penalty-taking mood tonight. Jake Gosens backhands it back to the blue line. Face-off controlled to his twin brother, Caden. Caden over to Whithill. Caden having some trouble on the return pass, but he kept it alive. Not a lot of high pressure from the Rams. Rowan turns, centers, backhand by Gosens. He just missed. That would have been Caden Gosens' first varsity goal. Jake Gosens bashed off the puck, but Jake, with help from Caden, win it back for East Grand Rapids. Caden out of the corner, controlling the puck with confidence. His pass goes right through Hill, but back behind the goal to Jake Gosens. 30 seconds left on the advantage. Owen Runyon run over at the point by Packard, but he worked it to Jake Gosens. Back to Caden Gosens. Near side, Runyon, a shot. Saved by Williams. Loose at the top of the crease. Oh, and that's an early whistle. Oh, my. Rockford got the benefit of the doubt on that one. The puck was still right there. Then the referee said, nope, that's it. Maybe the net came off its peg? That's what it is. Okay, so it wasn't that Williams had it covered. It was that the net had been budged from its proper spot, or at least the ref thought he saw that. With 19 seconds to go on the power play, a nice flurry for East, but they still can't get one behind Nolan Williams. The drop of the puck. Barnes goes in after it. So does Bird. He flips it back to the blue line. Brooks cradles and sending a pass deflected. Bjornsson still managed to work it back to Brooks. Far side Brinker wrister. Stick save by Williams to the far side boards. Down to 3 seconds to go on the power play. Brinker handles, feeds Bird out of the corner. Trevor Bird trying to get by Flaherty behind the back pass to the far corner. We're back to 5-on-5 as out of the box comes Jackson Vollmer. Flaherty for Rockford clears, and that's an icing against the visiting team. Still 1-0 Rockford, 11:03 to go in the second. Vollmer, by the way, was in the box for, well, I thought I was going to see it here on the live box score, but it's not up yet. Okay, we'll wait on that. I never saw the signal. At any rate, power play's over, and it's full and even strength for both sides. Many couldn't pluck it free in between the face-off circles, so Vollmer heads back the other way, sends it ahead, right on goal. Owen, he'll cover it at the side of his net. Ryder Owen handles it there. Owen on the season, a .934 save percentage and 2 shutouts. Quite the debut season so far for him, kind of like Charlie Finch last year. East is finding some goalies. The mission for East Grand Rapids to try to leapfrog Rockford and others to get into the top 4 of the OK Rue division so they can be in the championship flight and try to defend their title in proper fashion next month out at Griff's Georgetown. They beat Granville in the championship game last year. You'll remember East won 3 overtime games in that tournament. They only played 3 games. All went to overtime. The Granville game, I believe, was either triple or quadruple overtime. The dump in by East Grand Rapids deflected up on top of the Caledonia locker room that you see there down to our left. 4 high school teams now call the Patterson Ice Center home as Cal has joined the party, along with Forest Hills Central, Forest Hills Northern and Eastern, and East Grand Rapids. East will play a rink rival tomorrow, Forest Hills Northern Eastern, 7 o'clock scheduled puck drop. I believe it's here on the East rink again on last glance. That's what it said. That's always subject to change. I'll be here with you, though, for the play-by-play. Hill charging out of his own end, right up the gut. Hill over the blue line. A wrister was blocked, though, by Portco. Portco's a workhorse for Rockford, the junior defenseman. Now takes over with the puck. Headmans it for Meade, 1-on-3. Dumps just outside the blue line. Gosens forced that. Owen couldn't get it by Meade, who picked it off, and he tossed it right behind the goal. It rattles out to the point for Portco. Far wing Ragukis, a wrister, stick save by Owen. It ricochets wildly to the near wall. Market dumped it deep. There's Gosens taking over. That's Caden Gosens. Couldn't clear past Portco at the blue line. Kicked up into the air by Ragukis and cleared to center. Pardon, that was Hudson Shore, actually, and now Shore goes to the bench as it's rifled right back in by the Rams. 9:21 to go in the second period, approaching the midway point of regulation. Bjornsson, great move, Dipsy-do, right to the net. Stop made by Williams again, keeping it a 1-0 score. Bjornsson doing it all but putting the puck over the goal line. He's close. He's been there a couple of times, narrowly misfired on a similar-looking rush back in the first. Blind centering pass for Rockford, intercepted by that man again. Here's Bjornsson, number 7 in white, got 2 men with him. Fed it across, into the middle, Bird, whacked it toward the net. Williams shuts it down, and he's got it covered at the left side of his net from his perspective. And he goes for a skate in the corner as he has maintained the advantage for his Rams. 8:48 left in the second. Other OK Rue scores from out in Holland. Grand Rapids Catholic Central leads at 5-2 against West Ottawa. Gage Potter's got a couple of goals. The freshman continues to impress for the Cougars. And we'll see Catholic Central against East coming up in a couple of weeks. Teddy Bear Toss night at Southside. Catholic Central hosts that rivalry game this year. Runyon put it into the path of Cooper Rowan. Fights off a check. Rowan's pass, though, broken up by Vollmer. Couldn't knock it out of the zone. Porter Brooks pinched up. And the Pioneers trying to create some chaos. Brooks, oh, he almost got it through. Would have been a 2-on-1 down low. Meanwhile, it's a 2-on-1 the other way. Ragukis waiting, shooting off the goalpost. And it rattles to the far side. Ragukis that close to a 2-goal output, but close does not count. And Owen would say, hey, I only gave him the post to shoot at. You know how goalies are, but Owen came out to challenge. All joking aside. And down it goes back into Rockford territory. Flaherty, the backhand, stayed in place somehow. No, it didn't. It actually must have struck someone either on the Rockford bench or maybe in the East penalty box. There's someone standing there too. Either way, whistle sounds, halting play. Still 1-0, 7:46 remaining in the middle period. Well, I figured out the culprit at the first intermission for the technical hiccups that we had. Couldn't get the video to work in the first period. It was a bad cord. A good thing I brought two. Sometimes it really is just that simple and just that boring of a fix. But I'll take a boring fix because that's about all I can handle. I can't do exciting and complicated when it comes to this stuff. Much better at talking than I am at fixing audio video setups. Penalty coming, and it's against East Grand Rapids, I think. Tracy got tied up with the Pioneers' Bryce Bjornsson, who unfortunately has a hat trick of penalties now. He's going to the box with 7:33 left in the frame. First penalty of the period against East, and Bjornsson just resigned to his fate, has a seat. No protest this time. Head contact called against Bryce. And so he'll look on from the box as the Pioneers have to try to kill off a fourth Rockford power play. Rockford's 1 for 3, but they only scored on a two-man advantage. Vollmer from the far circle. Down low and tap back out high quickly to Portco. Cross rink. This is Packard, 20 goals on the season, including 2 on the power play. Packard cradles, shoots, just wide, off the end wall, shovel to the net, oh, went in. It just trickled by. Michael Mead, quick thinking. He thought maybe I'll catch Owen off guard, and he just barely knuckled that puck off Owen's pad and over the goal line. So it's 2 power play goals for Rockford in the game, and the Rams lead 2-0 on Michael Mead's 6th of the season. The wrister from Packard missed, but hard to account for that end board bounce sometimes, and that's what ends up victimizing the Nears. 2-0. So Bjornsson's out of the box, back on the bench, and East back to 5-on-5. That's not the way you want to get out of the box. It's the second time Rockford has scored very quickly after a penalty was called, too. That was just 25 seconds into that power play. The first one was 7 seconds into the 5-on-3, so I guess that was an improvement. Slugged wide of the goal by Packard. The Rams after it, trying to get a third. The Pioneers got to be careful. They don't want to get too far behind against a Rams team that's got a fantastic goalie. Although the Rams have not been that great defending this year, they have given up some goals this season, so keep that in mind. Rockford 9 wins, though, on the year. Certainly not an opponent to be lightly taken, as we've seen so far. Hudson Shore burrows in. Good pass, Mead. Oh, Owen made a great save with the right pad, just barely deflecting it wide. From the point, McCrell, a shot deflected. Mead couldn't turn it over at the front of the net. The Rams are buzzing again. Here's Laverell over to McCrell. Far side, a shot that was blocked. It came off the stick of Caden Markin. I think Whit Hill got in the way of that. And the deflected shot heads out of play into the Rockford student section, so to speak, behind the east net down to our right. Well, the Rams this year lost their first 2. They fell to Caledonia here. They also lost at home to Reeds Puffer. Then they got wins against Forest Hill Central and Jenison in OK play. The Forest Hill Central game, an OK Rue division game. Long shot from the point after the face-off controlled by the Rams. Kuhn shot it there, right to the blue paint, but Owen handles it, covers it. Other games against local foes. Rockford upset Byron Center down at Southside in early December. Scramble off the face-off and banged around to the far point. Backhand pass in front by Schwant. And a shot came from the near side by Tracy that was fought off by Owen. Owen holds the fort, and the Pioneers finally escape. Yeah, let's play down here to our left a little bit here, gentlemen. They'd love to do that. As Kuhn lost it in the skates of the ref. Hill centering right through the top of the blue paint. Back out to the point as Barnes shot it into traffic. Deflected by Bird to the near side boards. Caden Gosens parades down, wipes out his man. That was Tracy, but it's cleared by Bjornsson. Up ahead, Brinker has got to get on his horse, and Brinker does to pull it away from the forechecking Grayson Leiter. Ethan Brinker, look at him fly. The big man can move. Brinker to the circle. Now looks to center it out in front, but he got a little too deep, and it's broken up and cleared by Flaherty. Back to the far side. Barnes banged it around the wood. Came to the near side. Kuhn can't clear. Bjornsson and Brinker close down that avenue. The Pioneers continue to battle hard. That's one thing Coach Newton was talking about. He said, for the most part, he's been very happy with the competitive level of his Pioneers. They just have not been able to get those offensive breakthroughs when they want them. The battle continues, proving my point. Bjornsson centering. Bird open. Saved by Williams. He telescoped out to kick it away. To the point, Brooks a shot. Deflected wide. There's a loose stick behind the net, and the referee puts his arm up. Penalty called. And I think it's against the Pioneers again. As they were in possession, Trevor Bird is going to the box. And we'll see what the call is. Call is interference. I think what was called was Bird knocking the stick, the loose stick, on the ice away from a Rockford player. Because I didn't see Bird necessarily collide with anybody, but it's always possible I missed something. So a fifth Rockford power play, just one so far tonight for East Grand Rapids. 4:08 to go in the second. Back out to the blue line, McCrell. Spins it to Laverell. All the way over. There's an open man. Ragukis blocked by Caden Gosens, and Owen pounces on the loose puck with exactly 4 to go in the second. Other good results for the Rams against West Michigan opponents. They beat Mona Shores 5-4. They beat Granville 3-2. That'll raise your eyes. Raise your eyebrows, excuse me. And that 3-3 tie against Catholic Central that I previously mentioned that ended up being wiped out due to the forfeit. So the Rams 2-2 officially in OK Rue play. The Pioneers 1-1. They got to survive this penalty kill first. Or maybe they can get a shorty. I don't see a shorty on the board so far for East Grand Rapids. Would be a wonderful time for it as Barnes takes a look, rips it across. Here's Jake Gosens trying to test Williams, but the shot was blocked to the end glass. Back behind the goal, 1:19 to go on the power play. Rockford takes over again. Again, the fifth advantage for the Rams tonight. Down the near side, stopped up at the half wall by Hill, but it's fed across to Vollmer, who slows the pace down for the Rams. Laverell into the middle, turning backhand by Flaherty, deflected up into the netting. And we'll get a face-off coming up in East Grand Rapids real estate. 3:09 to go in the period. 1:01 left on the penalty to Trevor Bird for interference. Bird, the sophomore, on the bench. Bird, one of a couple of freshmen who made a big impression last year, along with, of course, the goalie, Charlie Finch, and defenseman Porter Brooks, who set up the OK Conference winning goal in overtime against Granville. We were talking about that game earlier. Behind the net, and it eludes Flaherty. Flaherty, the D-man, playing net front / behind the net on this power play, and here he is on the far side at the half wall. Dropped it off. Vollmer, below the goal line, Mead. Michael Mead, who just scored on the power play. To the point, Portko shot it, stopped by Owen, loose puck, hammered off the glass, pushed back to the point by Packard, held there by Portko. Half a minute left on the advantage. Mead to Portko, collects, shooting, deflected, Owen's down, and the puck's under him. Somewhere he hangs on. 2:28 left in the period. Well, Owen's doing his job right now, keeping this game within range. You got to figure at some point the Pioneers are going to get at least one more power play if they continue to play hard. They've had a couple of offensive zone penalties tonight, though. That's been the issue, or one of the issues. You don't expect to take penalties in those spots when you have the other team on their back foot. There's a great deflected pass by Rowan. He got his stick in the way. Packard wanted to go back to Portko, but Cooper Rowan said no. Flaherty stretches through center. Huge hit by Rowan. Knocked Flaherty right into the Rockford bench through the door. That's dangerous. I don't know if that thing was ajar slightly or just the sheer force of the hit sent Flaherty, well, halfway into a line change with 2:05 to go in the second. Sometimes hits can change games too, and in that case, that's what the Pioneers are hoping for. By the way, the power play is over. East has killed off 4 of 5, or excuse me, they've killed off 3 of 5, as both of Rockford's goals were on the power play. Keep forgetting about that 5-on-3 goal. In my mind, it's in a different category than your typical power play, but it all counts the same, of course, when you look at the official stats at the end of the game. So back on level terms, bounce to the blue line, flushed out by J.P. Levan. Hoekstra trying to follow on. Levan sends it forward, right on Williams. He doesn't want to take any chances. He stops the music with 1:53 left before our second and final intermission. Patterson is buzzing tonight. Good crowd for a Friday night. We expect that as always. Energy in the building is palpable, hoping for something good for the home team. And of course, not a long drive for Rockford either. And they're used to playing their home games just down the road in the city center at Griff's Ice House. Bjornsson checked hard by Portko, back to the blue line, and Barnes just barely kept it in the neutral zone, but only briefly as it's slapped ahead by Tracy. Barnes takes it back for East, up the far side. Bjornsson stapled there, couldn't get it out past Portko, who dubs the shot wide. 90 seconds left in the period. 3-on-2 scrum. The Pioneers have the manpower advantage over there. As it's Schwant. Run off the puck. Here's Whitaker Hill. And he ran right through Jackson Vollmer as he made the play. Up and cleared by Bjornsson. At the center red line, McCrell tossed it over the Rockford bench and well out of play. 1:08 remaining. Both teams get wholesale line changes. And the faceoff coming up right on the Grand Rapids Griffins logo at center ice. I don't know if you've heard, but the Grand Rapids Griffins have lost one time in regulation in AHL play. I believe it's the best 30-some game start in league history, and we're talking 90-plus years of play in the American Hockey League. Jake Gosens right across with that pass. That's intercepted. Lavarelle looks up, hits Packard. Dumps it softly, near side, pass by Kortkowski, intercepted by his opposite number, Jake Gosens. Ahead it comes to Cooper Rowan. Couldn't get past Max Flaherty, who picked it off and cleared. 37 seconds to go in the second period. Up off a stick and offside against Rockford. Brinker tried to chop it out into the center ice area. Anyway, the Griffins and the Colorado Avalanche of the NHL, both with historic starts to the hockey season. And it's hard to even call it a start at this point. We're halfway through the hockey season in many regards, including pretty much in high school. East has played 12 games coming in. They could have up to 15 remaining, so roughly halfway. The action's picking up, though, in the next couple of weeks. 4 games, all against OK Rue rivals. Starting with tonight. 13 seconds to go in the period. Bird, can he get around for a chance? Center for Barnes! Stop made! Williams stonewalled him from point blank. Alex Barnes that close. 4 seconds to go. Vollmer, he drives it himself. Owen held it out at the buzzer. And we've got some hands coming up behind the net. Players come together. The linesmen come in to separate, and we'll see if any penalties come from all this. Both teams want this one badly. Like I said, Rockford lost a point in the standings due to a forfeit last week, so they're feeling a little desperate, I'm sure, as are the Pioneers. But players pride apart, and we'll go to the second intermission. Only goal of that period, once again, a power play goal for Rockford. Michael Mead about midway through, and that was that. 1 penalty committed by Rockford, 2 by the Pioneers. Can East both get on the board and make it interesting in the third? We'll find out in just a little bit on the East Hockey live stream.
calling both sides over there. I was like, holy shit, he's calling both sides, man.
Got to. I tried.
I mean, I only do our team, so I do our team, and everybody else is the other team.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, yeah. Here we go for the third period. East Grand Rapids down 2-0 to Rockford. I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you for joining me on the East Hockey live stream. Flaherty harassed by Barnes. Flaherty clears down and out. Icing against Rockford 10 seconds into the third. I misspoke earlier. I called Ryder Owen a freshman. He is a sophomore. He and Finch both sophomores, although this is Owen's first season on East Grand Rapids. Barnes, Bird, and Bjornsson. Triple B line out there for East. Didn't realize that until just now. I love the nicknames. If you can have them, why not? Brinker bangs a shot off the pad of Nolan Williams, who's been perfect so far. Bjornsson latches onto the loose puck at the near side. Spins it around the horn. That's where Trevor Bird takes over. And a twisting backhand pass. Area pass looking for Barnes behind the goal. Instead, Flaherty wins the race and has it. And his lead delivery, that was unable to be handled cleanly by Jackson Vollmer. Another icing against the Rams. They'll get a change, but they're still pinned in their own territory 40 seconds into the period. East has been shut out just the one time, or pardon me, 2 times this year. I was thinking about the 3-0 loss to Forest Hill Central. That was our previous broadcast on the stream. To the front of the net. Gosens denied by Williams. Kicked it away. Jake Gosens, that is. This is Caden Gosens. Caden almost had his first East Grand Rapids goal last period as he got involved on the power play. Centering are the Rams. It bounced away, though, from the reach of Chase Laverell. Out near the blue line. Skated into safety by Jake Gosens. But, yes, 2 shutout losses for East this year. The first one was back just before Thanksgiving against Rochester United, 1-0 here. That was a game I was supposed to broadcast for you, but my sinuses had another plan for me. Laverell offside against Rockford. I'm thinking I was one of the first to get that nasty flu that's been going around because that lingered for a long time. Only just cleared it a couple of weeks ago. Love when it's busy broadcast season for me and I literally can't talk. That makes things difficult. Be like a hockey player who couldn't skate. Kuhn couldn't clear over there on the far side. J.D. Menny held it in, and Menny jams it deep. Flaherty, does this guy ever leave the ice for Rockford? I don't know. He might stay out there for the whole third period at this pace. Kuhn passed it to no one in particular at center, so Brinker takes it back for East. Fed it quickly to Levan, but Levan's attempted pass broken up and dumped back in on the East goal. That's where Owen turns it to the side for his defenseman Porter Brooks, but that's turned over. It bounces off a couple of skates, pinballing around, and Levan scoots it to neutral ice. D-to-D go the Rams, and rifled in by Kuhn, wide of Owen. Near side board, Brooks knocked over by Hudson Shore, but the Pioneers have the puck. That's the important part. Menny to the corner for Bjornsson. Center right behind J.D. Menny, who skated a little bit too far in deep. The angle just wasn't there on the pass from the corner. Owen lets the puck go behind the net as Caden Gosens ended up taking the stick of Grayson Leiter with him for a little ride. No penalty called there as Leiter let it go. Bjornsson onside of the Pioneers, trying to slither his way by as he slipped past Portco, but not past the reinforcements for Rockford. They had 2 more skaters between Bjornsson and the net. Portco takes it right back. Angles it near wing. Schwant blindly up into Pioneers real estate. Bird cracks it off the near wall for Bjornsson. Bjornsson drags it into clear possession at center. Down the right wing, 2-on-3 rush. Bjornsson beats the hip check. There he is, and the puck just drifted away from him. He got it back, though. Tried to clip it in front for Bird, but that was intercepted by Schwant. And he clears on a bouncing puck. Good bounce for Rockford, right off the top of the blade of Ethan Brinker's stick and all the way down. Runyon at center. Lost control to Brinker. Brinker in some difficulty on the far side, but found the escape hatch. That was the pass over to Porter Brooks. The Pioneers get a chance to regroup in their own end. Nearly 4 minutes into the third period. No goals, no penalties yet in this frame. Jake Gosens squeezes down the wall against Flaherty, who hit more of the boards than Gosens on that attempted check. But Vollmer surging through center. The cut back to the left side, pocket pick by Jake Gosens. Reguckus helps it back to Flaherty. Vollmer to Savaggio, the veteran forward. Owen takes the dump in, plays it along. Errant pass, though, by Runyon, rescued by Caden Gosens. He jams to center, but Flaherty drives it right back in. Rockford trying to keep it simple, you can tell in this third. Caden Gosens up the near wing. It eluded the reach of Jake Gosens. Rowan, a couple of swings at it. Couldn't get it past Flaherty. Standing sentry just inside the red line. Flaherty goes off for a change. Kuhn bounces it right on net. Owen handles it after a brief hiccup there. Turned over by Whithill out at the blue line. Portko, cross ring pass. Looking for Hudson Shore, but it didn't connect. Hill again. Patiently this time. Shoots it just off the boards. It narrowly avoided going into the east bench, but it caroms down the icing against East Grand Rapids. 11:57 to go in the third period. Looks like Catholic Central has taken care of West Ottawa on the road, 5-2 tonight. That's now 10 wins for GRCC as they pick up that forfeit victory against Rockford in a game that they tied 3-3 last Friday. I was told that Rockford had to forfeit their game against Forest Hills Northern Eastern last Saturday, too. They didn't play that one as the MHSAA stepped in. That would have been their 5th game of the week. So Rockford's taken 2 unforced losses. That stings. They'll be 2-3 now in OK Rue with just one division game left to go, I think. Actually, this might be their last one. We'll look at their schedule in a moment when I get the chance. Brinker couldn't dump it in. East still has 3 to go in the OK Rue after this game. Losing it, Levan. Pushing back Shore, but couldn't make the inside-out move as Whithill picked it off, cleared, not far enough for icing. 11 minutes left in the third. Up the far side, Leiter couldn't get it out. Bjornsson tossed it toward the slot, but that's intercepted by the Rams and tossed high off the glass and out by Portko. Tracy scoots it across. Bangs off a stick right back to the east line. In Rockford territory, Flaherty. Schwant pivoted, fired it. Caden Gosens dumped in from center, and that jumped on him and ended up over the high glass, and it's a souvenir from one of the Rockford students back there. Well, Rockford's got a game against Grand Rapids Christian coming up next Friday, but that will be it in the OK Rue. Well, that makes sense. There's 7 league games that you play because there's 8 teams in the Rue division. So you play each of your other division opponents once. Well, you could play them twice, but only one of those counts in the standings. Right to the front of the net, and Williams made a stick save on Jake Gosens. I think it was a shot pass, or Rowan maybe trying to hunt a rebound. It's a good idea, but it didn't work out. Vollmer, the pull-up move. Defended well by Caden Gosens. Vollmer the shot. Owen handles and freezes at his feet. 10 minutes and 1 second left. Looking ahead for East, I mentioned Forest Hills Northern Eastern tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We'll have the game for you on the live stream. And then I'm going to try to live stream the game next Wednesday at Grand Rapids Christian. I've had some issues with that firewall in the past, as that is a school network at Eagles Ice Center. To the goal on a deflection. Korakowski couldn't beat Owen. Korakowski gets it back. Deflects off an east stick, high in the air. Flagged down and cleared by Bjornsson. And then East against Caledonia next Friday, 1 week from today. So yeah, 4 games in the Rue division in 8 days. That'll tell you a lot about how this season is going to turn out in the regular season, at least, for East Grand Rapids. Owen stops the dump in. Put it right into the skates of Brinker, who handled it well. Rolling puck, too. Ethan Brinker has really impressed me this year. Rock steady. And that's a hand pass against Rockford. The faceoff will be outside the zone. Final league games for East will be Forest Hill Central 2 weeks from today here on the East Rink, and then they'll have that game against Grand Rapids Catholic Central, on Saturday the 24th. So yeah, 5 league games out of their next 6. East will also travel to Livonia Stevenson to the Eddie Edgar Ice Arena next Saturday. Banged off the glass by Whit Hill. It's stuck on the back of the net. That's supposed to be a whistle, I thought, this year in MHSAA rules, but hey, the Pioneers keep playing it, so play continues on. Hoekstra tried to slap it out to the point, but that was intercepted and knocked back to the Pioneers line. They dump in. 9 to go in the third. Levan tried a pitchforking move. That didn't work. Mead guns it ahead. Owen held it behind his goal. He's been great handling the puck today, including that one time he just barely cleared it past the on-rushing forward checker for Rockford in front of his own net. I forget who it was for Rockford who nearly had that, but Owen was just so composed and made the play. Hill lost control of it to Mead, and it's a penalty against Rockford for a tripping. So that's why Hill went down. It was not a legal play by the Rams, and there's the opportunity East Grand Rapids has been looking for. Caden Market to the box. 8:28 left in regulation. And again, tripping the call. Just the second power play of the night. For the Nears, let's see what they can do. Bjornsson, Bird, and Barnes are your forwards. Brooks and Brinker are your D. It's 5 Bs on the ice. A 5B PP1, if you will. Barnes, good face-off win on his backhand side. Right back to the point, Brinker. He drags, feeds Bjornsson on his strong side, below the goal line. Alex Barnes getting a big opportunity coming out of the holiday break, playing with the 2 top scorers on East Grand Rapids. Brooks down low, Barnes backhand. 20 seconds into the power play, taken by Kuhn. Can the freshman clear? He cannot. Kept in by Brinker, used his feet. Did Brinker. Bjornsson dragging, feeding back against the grain. Brinker, a shot, and Nolan Williams handles it right into the Rockford crest on his jersey. No rebound, 1:28 left on the penalty. The Rams trying to hang on. They played a solid third period, but now they're down a man. And sometimes you might need your goaltender to make a big save or two. East would love to force Williams into a big save or two because that'll mean they're putting the pressure on. Fresh bodies out there for East. Caden Gosens chips it across to Whit Hill. Hill off the kick plate. Pursued hard there by Packard, but it's loose to Caden Gosens. Just barely kept it in. He did not. He had to drag it out over the line. So you got to give credit to Jonah Packard, senior forward for Rockford. He's a high-scoring player, but he's put in a shift defensively. It's a couple of times tonight I've been impressed by his defensive presence. Playing without the puck, playing hard without the puck. And, of course, Coach Mokosak wouldn't put him out there on the PK if he didn't think he could handle the job. This is a key moment in the game. Maybe the critical moment of the third period. Rowan, first in after it on the forecheck. Dished it back to Gosens. Runyon running one of the points. His pass to Hill, right back to Owen Runyon. And another penalty coming against Rockford. Maybe East should just give it right to him. Runyon fires it across. Owen is to the bench. Extra attacker coming on. Deflected. Wide of goal. Rebound. Score! Jake Gosens bangs it in front. It's 2-1. Extra attacker. Power play goal for EGR. Maybe I just want to fly. Jake Gosens is third of the year. And maybe none bigger. It's a 2-1 score with 7:10 left, and because of the delayed penalty, East stays on the power play. That penalty that was coming up won't be called, but the original penalty, I believe, stays on the board, unless I'm mistaken. We'll find out in a second if I'm right or wrong about my rule book minutia. So that's 3 goals in this game, all on the power play. Gosens gets to that rebound. So wait, we might actually be seeing that penalty be called. So if that's the case, it benefits East if we get a full 2 minutes, and we do. So Flaherty to the box, and East can tie it with a PPG again. Just the opening they were looking for, and they've got it now. And here's Brinker, revving it up from his own end. Ethan Brinker down the right wing, drop pass, connects to Bjornsson, has a look, he's open, he shoots. Williams hangs on. Top of his crease to cut off some of that angle. So the goal was Jake Gosens, 3rd of the season, 8th of his EGR career. And East is right back in this one. Off the tie-up, it squirts to the far wing and driven down by Hayden McCrell. Rockford's junior D-man. Brinker to Bird, the sophomore. Trevor Bird, his pass was interrupted. Bjornsson got a stick in there, but he couldn't get the puck. And it spun all the way down 200 feet by Ben Tracy, who heads off for a line change. 1:16 to go on the penalty to Max Flaherty. That's a key guy to have off the ice, too. Doubly difficult for Rockford, having just given up a goal, and one of their leaders has to sit it out. Didn't catch the penalty call, but it's of the 2-minute variety. 1 minute to go on this power play. 3rd of the night for East. Bjornsson cradles and fires it. Handled by Williams. No rebound again. Both Bird and Barnes were right there in case that puck hopped loose, but it did not. And the second unit comes on, which might be good news for East because they're hot. They just scored. Hill and Gosens, the defenders. Rowan, Jake Gosens, and Owen Runyon, the forwards, cleared over the glove of Gosens by Portco. Caden Gosens takes it from Ryder Owen. Runyon all the way across, knew where he was going with that. It's on the money to Whit Hill. Hill down the boards, checked by McCrell, slapped out of the zone by Tracy. Owen all the way into the corner to keep it away from the forward checking Savagia. 25 seconds remaining on the power play. 5:30 to go in the game, or in regulation, I should say. Jake Gosens, that looked close to being offside, but play allowed to continue. There's no replay review at this level, so if the Nears score, it's going to count. Runyon, 10 seconds to go on the power play. Mishandled, though. Flicked it off a Rockford stick into the corner. Rowan battling. Tracy takes it for Rockford. Can he clear? He cannot. Lassoed by Hill. Caden Gosens. Runyon, top of the circle. Power play is over. Gosens shoots. Redirected off the pad of Williams near side. It goes and up and not out. Caden Gosens held it. Under 5 to go in regulation. The Nears going to change on the fly, but they do not score on that 3rd power play chance of the night. They're 1 for 3. Flagged down by Bjornsson skillfully, but had it ripped away by Jonah Packard, and he sends it due north for the Rams. Porter Brooks, Whit Hill, up to Bird, and 1 touch to Bjornsson. Beautiful play, team wide from East Grand Rapids. Bjornsson centering right under the stick of Barnes. He wasn't quite ready for it, I don't think. But Bjornsson, he can find you regardless of where you're at. Bjornsson, case in point, turns it back to the point for Bird. All the way across rink wide. Brinker's open, shooting Williams. Telescopes out to gobble up that shot. 4:13 remaining in regulation. Regardless of what happens, East can be proud of its pushback in the 3rd. And it's been a close game all the way through. Late line change for EGR, but they've gotten Hill and Caden Gosens back out there. Many, Hoekstra, and Levan are your forwards. Levan after the puck below the goal line. 1 point on the year for Levan, looking for his first varsity tally. Good move there from Many. Dished it back to Gosens. Cross to his partner Hill. Soft backhand below the goal line. Under 4 to play in the 3rd. Oh, it squirted right out in front. And Meade tracked it down for Rockford. Couldn't clear past Gosens. Holds, faked the shot, got it to Many. Backhand pass out high, picked off. And the Rams Markin looks up ice. Cross rink delivery onto Shore, right out in front with that pass for Michael Mead, but Owen got a stick in there to deflect it away from the on-charging Michael Mead, who's already scored tonight. Hill emerges from behind his net. His pass was deflected high over the head of Flaherty, who flags it down. 3:20 left. Pioneers get the line change. Turned over at the blue line. Here comes Cooper Rowan, shooting, blocked by Flaherty, and he shoots it right over the near side glass. And there's no delay of game penalty for that at this level. But East will get an offensive zone draw. Who can the Pioneers turn to in this spot? Now they'll put the Bird, Bjornsson, Barnes line back out there. Chris Newton in his 8th season coaching the Pioneers, 50 games above 500. 120, 70, and 6 is his all-time record. This year's team has pieced it together. They do not have, or they have not had, the offensive firepower of recent years. They're hoping for more in the second half, but they've had to play some close to the vest style games this year. And they've held opponents under 2 goals on average per outing. That's how they've remained in most of these games. They're 6-6 coming in. Bjornsson charging down the wall, trying to make a cut-in move. It's loose to Barnes as Bjornsson was dumped. Bird looking to shoot. Bjornsson picked up his stick. He collided with McCrell, who lost his stick too. And McCrell got to the puck and backhanded it to safety all the way in front of the East Grand Rapids net. 2:27 left. Long lead pass as the Rams are changing. Bjornsson, a shot, and again Williams uses that glove to control play and get the stoppage. A good save. Bjornsson trying to go upstairs, but that shot was coming high and hard right at Nolan Williams' mask, and he made another stop. 2:20 remaining. Timeouts available for both teams. Each team gets one that lasts a minute. Rowan gets the face-off assignment, but Kortkowski controlled for Rockford. Around the boards and cleared out. Packard, one-on-one against Gosens. Cutting in, shooting, save Owen. He's on his back, and it's flicked away. Owen made a second save, I think, too. And then Jake Gosens cracked it out of trouble. But the Pioneers got to get the puck back. Kuhn couldn't get it in. Packard waits for his teammates. They're onside. Packard right down the slot for a moment. Now pulls up. Threw it toward the front of the net. Deflected by Kortkowski to the near boards. Stepping up Kuhn. Free for Packard. He scores! Jonah Packard, that deadly release, and his 21st goal of the season has probably put this one away for Rockford. I think Laverell got it to him in the slot. Either way, that was on his stick and off his stick in a flash. And again, the Rams skate the length of the ice to celebrate the goal with their student section. Packard driving it home. The puck was bogged down on the sideboards, and then suddenly it wasn't. And then suddenly it was in the net. Our first even strength goal of the game. Jonah Packard. 2 points for him tonight. He also assisted on the Michael Mead goal in the second period. So 34 points on the year. This game number 17, nearly a 2-point per game pace. Actually, it is exactly a 2-point per game pace. Now that I look at it, offside East Grand Rapids. 21 goals, 13 assists for Jonah Packard. Well, that takes the starch out of the East comeback. Looks like Ryder Owen is going to the bench anyway as East pulls the emergency fire alarm here. Goalie off, extra attacker. Here's Rowan breaking in. Backhand, flipped up off the stick of Williams, who played third defender in that case. Brooks a shot tip, still loose. Bird looking for it. Bjornsson off the goalpost. Stays out, flipped toward the net, it was partially blocked. Cleared off the glass, held in by Brinker as he gloved it down. Brinker whacking at it. Thrown far side, out of the zone it goes. Brooks couldn't track it. But now Brooks has it again. East that close to making it 3-2. We're in the final minute of action. Final minute of the third period. Bjornsson over the blue line. No, it's offside again. Barnes just a step ahead as Bjornsson was forced to make a move with the puck right outside the blue line. Nothing he could do there as Rockford's pressure was well timed and well placed. Bjornsson maybe an inch away from scoring his 8th of the year. That was off the inside of the goal post after the goalmouth scramble. But the Rams, they're 49 seconds away from their 10th win of the season. Rowan got a hard hit in on Brody Ragukis, who scored the first goal tonight. Ragukis goes down again at center. He's trying to adjust his helmet. He might be hurting right now. I think he was caught a bit unawares by that Rowan hit, which appeared to be clean from my perspective. 30 seconds left. Net remains empty for East Grand Rapids. Up the near boards, Caden Gosens. Alex Barnes sends it deep, but picked up by Flaherty. Looked out the far side, now tries the near, clears it high off the glass. Gosens, one last dump in, right in on Williams. He turns it away. Far boards, Ragukis, cleared to center, 8 seconds. Hill steps up, shoots, one last blocker save by Williams, hacked off the boards. Rowan with 1 second, shot was blocked, and Rockford comes into Patterson and picks up win number 10 on the season. The Rams are 3-3 in the OK Rue, 10-7 overall. The Pioneers drop to 6-7 overall and 1-1, or 1-2, excuse me, in the division. Solid goaltending battle, high level of game, good speed all night long, players playing hard. And in the case of East Grand Rapids, coming off that nearly 3-week-long break between games, they got one in the third, but could not get the second. And Jonah Packard polished it off with the insurance tally with just under 2 minutes to play. So they held Packard in check all night until the very end, when he essentially clinched the game with that final goal, the only even strength goal of the night. So Rockford gets tallies from Brody Ragukis in the first, Michael Mead in the second, both on the power play, and Packard in the third. East Grand Rapids, the goal getter, Jake Gosens, his third of the season. So East will go back to the locker room, go back home, rest up, and come back here tomorrow night, 7 o'clock face-off against Forest Hills Northern and Eastern. No rest now as the schedule picks up, and we continue with OK Rue Division action. I'll have the broadcast for you once again tomorrow. Thank you for bearing with me through the first period when we lost the video multiple times. I think we got that figured out, but in the end, hoping for bigger and better tomorrow. Talk to you then. Good night from Patterson.